Projects just keep piling up. Yeah, there's so many projects. They just keep piling up. Let me tell you what I got going on. What do you got going on? I got Albanese gummy worms. These boys are good, let me tell you what.
You like some gummy snacks.
I love gummy snacks.
I don't really like gummy snacks. And I love sweets.
Let's see, that's weird. But it's not leaf wax.
Ew.
It's got red 40 in it.
Oh.
See you in the afterlife.
Yep.
Hey, that's all right. Man, we've had a dang week. Let me tell you what.
It's been an interesting week. Think about
all the good things and the bad things.
Man, it's been a week.
It's been a whole freaking week. And we're moving the podcast schedule to Tuesday because doing podcasts on Sundays,
it's
brutal.
It's not good.
I mean, Sundays is our day of rest, and they end up never being very restful.
No, because we're always doing a pod last minute, which, to be fair, our fault.
It's our fault. We could do it during the middle of the week.
Yeah.
But also, we work.
Yeah.
We play. That I feel like the week, we really grind it out. Everything gets done during the week. Yeah. And then my Friday, Saturday, Sunday is you just kind of hang out.
Mm-hmm.
Because after you get off work on Friday, you just kind of go.
You don't want to do anything.
You don't want to do anything. So I guess we could, but
I guess some notable things to look forward to in this pod is we can talk about me slamming into a tree, you riding a bicycle through Wilmington at 4 a.m. and let's see what else. What else do we have to get into this week?
We went and picked up a bike for Micah, which is one of my buddies, out in Kinston. And it just took way too long to get back, which was weird.
What other stories? What other stories do we have to get into?
What really happened? I just kind of grinded out this week, and I think that's about it. Actually,
I recorded 2 YouTube videos that I can't use the audio in.
What?
Yeah.
Did you do the helmet cam when you went?
Yeah.
Went to your spot.
Yeah.
Devil's Ridge.
And I had it set to the front microphone instead of the back one, so it was recording in front of me instead of me. And it just you can hear me screaming in the background.
I used to take the TTR 90 there
to the Ridge
and do the practice.
You know it's called the Ridge now.
Practice days. Yeah, which is weird.
It was called Devil's Ridge.
Mm-hmm.
It's a motorsport park. It's got a one track. It's kind of like the main draw is the track, and then there's a 4-mile loop in the woods.
It's a big track, right?
It's a decent sized track, and it's a decently technical loop in the woods.
I don't think I did the loop in the woods.
And I just got my XR 650 adventure bike deal running again. I don't think we've talked about that on the pod.
Fantastic, yeah.
Because it was Thursday.
The thing's been through it.
Oh my gosh, I got it. Immediately had to take that crap all the way apart. I was working on that thing for who knows how long. It's finally back together. I feel like I'm all paranoid that the problem's going to happen again, but it so far hasn't been.
It's just the nature of
I worked on it all day long today, just kind of getting some stuff buttoned up, and I've got another couple of days of that until it's where I need it.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because I still have PTSD from when I blew up my YZ80.
Yeah.
And it it was a proper blow up.
Mm-hmm.
I went, and it went, and then it just it locked up the wheel to everything.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it's anytime I ride a 2-stroke like that, I'm like, is it gonna blow up?
Yeah.
It's always in the back of my mind. It was such a traumatic event.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways to prevent it, and so that's what I'm trying to do. I've got I'm being really analytical about it, and I've got an hour meter on the bike, and I'm trying to keep track of everything.
Yeah.
And you've got your KLR 650. I've got my XR 650.
Oh yeah.
We officially have enough bike. We could go anywhere.
We could go anywhere. I think. I've yet to I've rode the KLR home and around here one time, but it's about to be back up and going. It's about to be back up and going.
why don't we get into that? Why is it apart? What happened? Why were you riding a bicycle at 4 a.m.? Let's get into that story.
Well, first of all, when you buy a bike, you just want to do a little bit of maintenance to it to get it running how you want it running. It was running good, but it needed a new chain immediately. The chain was busted. It needed a fresh oil change. It needs a new air filter.
Okay.
And it was ugly.
It was so ugly.
You couldn't catch me riding around that ugly bike.
It was so ugly. We rode it home at night for a reason.
Yeah, for a reason, yeah. That's why I set it up so late. I'm like, that bike looks so ugly.
It looked just horrendous. Like, it's the only bike I've ever seen that, like, I can't get past how just damn ugly it is.
It's so ugly. So I hit up Adam, your brother, and I was like, you think we could paint this? Because it's just a bunch of plastics and then a big metal tank. And he's like, oh, yeah, I think so. And we were talking about it, and he's like, probably a rattle can would be the easiest, which is, you know, what everyone does. And I was watching on YouTube, and people were doing it. Yeah. And then he's like, but the base with the clear would look really good. which for everyone, when he says that, he works at this auto body shop. It's a cool freaking shop down in Wilmington, and they like professionally rebuild these like high performance cars, and like they do like Land Rovers, Porsches, Teslas, you know, that I have really, but BMW, there was like a beautiful BMW in there that like the paint that they do is like just, it's perfect.
It's super high end work.
It's super high end. And I was like, okay. And so on Saturday morning when we set up, I was like, I can come down because the shop's closed on the weekends and he can do his own work on the weekend. So I got up at like 6 a.m., drove down there and got there at about 8 o'clock in the morning. And then we just got to it, went to the shop, got there at like 9 o'clock or 9:30. And just started freaking prepping. There was no one there. It was kind of cool. He disabled the alarm system, like fired up the compressors, which sounds crazy. It's like a
really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And like when he turns the lights on, it's like
like
all the way down. It's got huge. This place is massive. It's got huge bay doors and everything. And so we just got to work. We were like, what do we do? And then we just started sanding everything down, getting the graphics off. God, the graphics were crazy to get off. The tank graphics.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that.
It took like 45 minutes to get it right. Like, it took like a really crazy amount of time.
You've got access to all the chemicals you need out there.
Yeah.
And it still took that long?
Yeah. And we were like, because I think the graphics were under like a clear coat on the tank at least. And then we were going to prime these plastic pieces, and we primed them with this like, I guess, new primer that uses heat or UV light to dry it super fast. Yeah. And then we forgot to do something. There's an adhesive layer that goes below the primer. Okay. To like, you spray it down with this adhesive and then the primer on top so it sticks really well. Yeah. And we didn't do that. So we ended up having to like take these two big plastic pieces with like really tiny corners and lots of lines and stuff, and having to shave all the primer off and like sand the primer. Dude, that took like probably an hour and 15 minutes.
Because of a mistake, basically?
Because of a mistake. Yeah. And then we were repairing some of the plastics, and the time just added up. And then we looked at the clock, and it was freaking like 3 p.m. We were both just like starving. So we went and got a sub and came back. And everything was pretty much good to go by then. And then to use the paint booth was crazy because for all these like specialty paints, so they have like thousands of colors in this big drawer. And like when you need a gray for this car, they have like all the car colors in there. And so I went in there and I was like looking for a color that I liked or that I thought would look cool. and I was looking through all the grays and the blacks. And when you pick a color, you need to mix the color. There's no just like base.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's a gray.
Uh-huh.
That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's like, so we're like calling people because he doesn't have access to the computer that mixes it for you or whatever. And that was just, it was kind of a disaster, and it was kind of scary at the same time because we're like looking for all these like specialty paints and pouring 20 different paints in this little bucket. And then sometimes it would be funny. Like, it's pretty right on to what it is, but like we'd accidentally like over pour it a little bit, and the machine would be like, stop. And we're like, it's a custom color.
Yeah, you're just pouring in like blues and oranges and shit to make a gray.
Yeah, it's super bizarre. It's because of like the metallic-y that needs a lot of like color to do the metal. Yeah. There's a ton of blue in there.
Yeah,
which is you can see it in the light. You can see like a little blue. Uh-huh. It's like a blue gray. Super cool color.
A lot goes into painting a car that you don't think about. Like, it's not just
so
the color.
Yeah.
It's like how many stages of different types of coating or paint go on.
Oh.
And then like how metallic is the finish? Like, is it a flat finish, or does it have all these little flakes in it? And then trying to match that is crazy.
It's freaking nuts what goes into it, but we did it like a car. It was crazy. Like, you prime it, or like sand it up, prime it, or adhesive primer, and then sealant, and then 3 base coats, and then 2 clear coats. It's a crazy process. He's like cleaning the gun every coat or whatever, and they got this crazy gun cleaner over there. It's really awesome.
Do you have to like polish it after, or is that
no? That's how it came out.
Really?
Yeah,
it came out good then.
Yeah, there was like Adam is very perfectionist with the paint.
Yeah,
and like I could, you could see like little dots in it, which are like, I guess, dirt particles because this paint booth has like a big vortex going on.
Yeah.
So it like pulls in air from outside, and then it pulls it through the floor.
Uh-huh.
So there's no spray like in the air.
Uh-huh.
And it also pulls particles off of you, and it'll lay them on the paint sometimes. And that's why you wear like the crazy Tyvek stuff. Yeah. And I was just, I think it was probably because of me, because I was just walking around, just like looking at stuff and like just recording them.
It was just pulling your dirt off of you into the paint.
Which it's so like, to me, it's perfect. But to him, there's like, little dots here and there.
Yeah. It looks so good to me.
It looks so good.
I don't see any dots.
But we were mixing the paint. We were in there for like, apparently when you're in there, you're supposed to be wearing like a respirator, which he's not a painter, so he doesn't know that. And I don't know that. Just like, it just smells like paint in there.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is a paint booth. So
of course it smells
like
should.
Paint, yeah. And we were in there like mixing for so long, and I'm like on the ground, I'm just like feeling it. And I was like, Adam, do you feel like high right now? And he's like, yeah. I'm glad you said that, because I kind of do. And I was like, as soon as he said that, I was like, whoa. Like, I feel really crazy.
Yeah.
And we're just in this paint booth huffing paint. Like, so much paint. We're probably in there for like an hour and 20 minutes or something.
Oh, yeah. You were just lost probably 75,000 brain cells.
So many brain cells were lost that day because I was knee deep in like just chemicals trying to get the plastics right. And then that happened, and I was like feeling crazy and no food. It felt like a fever dream.
You said you were washing your hands with what you thought was water, and then it started burning your hands. And
it was lacquer thinner. I just sprayed my hands with lacquer thinner, and then it was like continuing to go because my hands, I don't like when my hands feel that chalky.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to moisten them up a little bit, and then I like smelled a little bit. I was like, that's weird. And I started feeling it, and I was like, ooh. Had to wash that off. But apparently that soaks in. The lacquer thinner does. He was telling me, like, if you hold an egg and like put lacquer thinner on the egg, you can like taste the egg or something. Like, I don't know how it works, but I probably didn't say it right. But anyway,
we hold the egg with lacquer thinner on it. You can taste it through your hand.
Yeah, and like yeah, something like that.
You gotta taste the egg. Delicious egg. I can tell it tastes like an egg.
It goes into your bloodstream or something.
Damn.
So we were just super high in the paint booth, and then we got to paint, and it felt even weirder because like the paint booth is just this big booth with like crazy lights all over the walls, and it just felt like literally like a Black Mirror type episode.
Yeah.
Then we got to painting, and like Adam was like, I don't think this is the right gun. This is like an RP gun or whatever. He starts laying like the first few coats like looked really good, like the sealant, the primer and everything, and then we did the first base coat, and we both were like, it just looked really bad. Yeah, We were like, what the heck? And then we're like, I was like, give it a minute because it's 3 coats.
Yeah.
And it looked like blotchy, and like blue was in some places and black was in other places, and was like doing the thing. He calls it like fish eyeing or something, where it bubbles a little bit in certain places. It's like a little oil or something's there.
Yeah.
And then the second coat went on, and that looked a little bit better. And then the third coat just like made it what it is. It was the craziest thing. It went from like pretty not. We were like, this is gonna turn out terrible. To being like, holy, this is a dang Beamer, which I chose a Chrysler color.
Really?
I looked at like the supercar color, like a Ferrari color and a Porsche color, but like I was telling you earlier, it's like they're all kind of like flat, and they're kind of boring colors that only work on those cars.
Yeah.
And so I went with the Chrysler like charcoal gray. It turned out so good.
It's like a metallic, kind of darker gray, with just like it's so glossy.
It is. It's glossed up, and it looks good. Let me tell you what.
Like we were saying, this like the KLR is notoriously an ugly bike, and it's notoriously a very cheap bike, and it's weird. It's weird to see one with such an exquisite paint job on it.
It is crazy. Even just like the front, I put the front fender on. I'm like, whoa, that's gonna look crazy.
And the tank looks so good.
It does.
The thing is, the tank is metal and it's painted.
Yeah.
And the plastics were red and they're faded. But when you paint plastic, the fear is that plastic is more flexible than the paint, and that means that the paint will just crack and chip off. But who knows what'll happen?
We don't know.
Yeah,
we have no idea, but we'll see. And then after we got done painting, it was like 9:00, so we worked like a 12-hour day on this.
That's insane.
It was so crazy. And then he's like, let's run back to the place. I'll change, and then we can go to his coworker's place. He's like, he's got a cool bar behind his house.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, whatever.
You guys are all high on paint.
Yeah, we're high on paint. We're just kind of doing whatever. So we go there, and I grab like an 18-pack of Miller on the way, and it's kind of like this crazy little scene. There's like this Jeep XJ out front, which everyone who doesn't know, I had an XJ, and there was just a guy just like sitting on the hood, with like sleeveless guy, kind of like a little cracky looking.
Yeah.
And we were like, I was like, oh man, sweet XJ. And he's like, yep, that's it. and then he starts telling. I start telling him kind of about. I said I used to have one and everything, and he was telling me all the upgrades. He's like, at the end of the day, it's kind of this beater looking XJ.
Yeah.
It's like got this. It's obviously being ready to paint it, but the top is all rusted. It's like the frame is a little rusty. I can see it. And like it's got this huge freaking kind of bald tires on it. And it looks like a junker.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm getting ready to drop about 35,000 in parts on this.
What?
I was like, dude, you could buy 5 XJs for $35,000.
He said 35,000?
Yeah. I looked at Adam. Adam looked at me. We're like, okay, whatever. There's just no way you can drop 35K.
You can't even spend that much on parts.
I feel like he was trying to flex a little bit for no reason. And then
it would be a lot. It would kind of be a lot to spend $3,500 on.
It would. You would need to do a lot for $3,500, like new axles and diffs and tires and everything.
Like,
like that would be a lot. And then we went in the backyard, and like they have this, like, it kind of looks like the depot, but probably like just this room, like a third of the size of this room.
Okay. And
we walk in, and there's just 3 people. Like, Adam made it sound like to me like it was like kind of a kickback party going on.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was getting ready to meet some people in there, and we just walk in, and there's just 3 people, which is kind of interesting. And then this guy Trent and his wife, and then the third one just left like as soon as we got there.
So it was just you,
Adam. It was just me, Adam, and then them 2. And it was a party. They were like some like country bumpkins. She was just like hitting like dabs in the corner. like she was
like torching up the glass and everything.
Yeah. Yep. Everything.
Nice.
But she seemed pretty normal. Mm-hmm. He was pretty normal. They were drunk, and then this guy came in like and on his shirt. He was like this old guy with a cane. But he didn't He didn't look that old. And like his name was Jimmy, and he like comes hobbling in, and he's like, let me tell you what. And we're like, what? This guy is hammered. Like, and on his shirt, in like the Japanese lettering, and it says ho, like H-O, and Lee, L-E-E, and then chit. Just
holy chit.
S-H-I-T or C-H-I-T.
Yeah.
And I was just like, who is this guy? And we didn't get an explanation until he was gone. And he told me like his life story and his dad's life story, and then I couldn't understand him, and he wouldn't let me leave. He was one of those where he zones you in, and then but he was so drunk where if you would have left, he would have kept talking. It was crazy. He's like, my dad pitched against Lou Gehrig or whatever, and like baseball player. And then he's like, I'm gonna cry, and then he just starts crying.
Why?
I was like, I don't know. He said something. I don't know. The dude just started crying, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And then
he started like holding his head and saying it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. I was like, I just said when he started crying, I was like, that's an incredible story. I was like, that's incredible.
Did you even understand what the story?
Not at all. He's like, when I was in Detroit, Tiger Stadium was all rusted out. He's like, you get a tetanus shot before you go in there. And he kept saying that over and over again. And then I was like, wow, that's such an incredible story. I said that. I was like, that's really powerful. like I was moved by it.
Yeah.
And then it was cool. We played some darts and stuff. And the dude, Trent, super good at darts. And he started calling us dart sharks because we started playing him and we beat him. We beat him and his wife.
Yeah, didn't you say that like everyone was like, nobody beats Trent at darts?
That's what Adam was saying.
And then you guys smoked them?
Yeah, and then them 2 are like, oh, we got a couple of dart sharks. I'm like, this is my first time like playing cricket.
Yeah, cricket's fun actually.
But, you just get the hang of it. You just like, fling, fling.
Yeah.
Fling, right in there. And then Jimmy left, and we were just like, who is Jimmy? I was like, is he your neighbor? And they were like, no, I used to work at a bar, and he was a regular.
And he just comes through?
Yeah, and he just comes through.
That's funny.
So who knew where Jimmy was? And then at like 12, I started tipping over. I was like so tired. We were there for so long.
Yeah.
And then Adam said he knew from the pod that when I don't talk, I'm tired. And I was just like dozing off almost in this bar chair. And then I was like, are you ready to rock and roll? He's like, yeah. And then we got out of there. And then the guy, like 4 hours later, was in the exact same spot smoking a cigarette. It was like NPC situation.
Oh, you're talking about the XJ guy?
Walked back out front. It was a crazy thing. And then we drove back to his place, and then we just hung out for a minute. And he's like, you want to take the bikes out? I was like,
so it's like It's like
12:30.
It's
1.
It's
It's 1:00, and I was like, "What the frick ever?" And so we just went out on the bikes to like 3:45, cruised around Wilmington, trying to create some riffraff.
That's so funny. Yeah, because Adam will say something like that to me, and I'll be like, "Dude, it's 1."
And it's funny. I know Adam's listening to this.
Yeah,
and he'll know exactly what went on.
Yeah.
He knows what's going on.
Yeah, he knows the whole story.
He knows the whole story. So that was my Saturday, which I got up at 5:30 and went to bed at 4.
Damn.
That's a 22.5-hour day.
That's too long for a day, I think.
It was way too long. Then we got up at 8 and went to breakfast and got the plastics out of the booth and everything and cleaned up.
You didn't sleep at all.
Not at all. And then last night I slept like 10 hours. So I need one more 10 hour to catch up.
Yeah.
And then I'll be golden.
Yeah, today was my first day of catch up. I've been getting like 6 hours, which not like crazy low, but it's been too many days of it.
It's low enough.
I can do
Sleep up.
1-6 is easy,
Mm-hmm.
but once you get like, I had like 3 or 4 6s in a row, and I just felt horrible. My lymph nodes in my neck were all swollen.
Yeah.
I just felt so bad, and then so last night I finally got like a decent amount of sleep.
I'm telling you, the science knows, or at least they know in science now, that if you have if your body say it needs 8 hours, if you have a night's sleep of 6 hours, that 2 hours will accumulate debt, and you can feel that 2 hours 2 weeks in the future.
It's insane.
And your body just accumulates sleep debt, and then all of a sudden your lifespan goes down. after like if you keep doing it, I mean it will.
I used to do it every day in high school. I used to get no sleep every day.
It's the like most important thing for your like neurological health.
Yeah.
And I can feel it, and I think about it now. And I'm like, I got to make that up.
Yep.
I got to make that up.
All right, I'm gonna go pee, and then I'll be back.
Okay.
So but I'm back. I peed.
Okay.
So last Thursday, I got my bike back together finally. My XR, my adventure bike. It's a dirt bike, kind of. And then on like Friday, my buddy that keeps his bike at my house sends me a message and is like, "Hey, you want to go riding this Saturday or this Sunday?"
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
he keeps his bike at your house?
Yeah.
I didn't
Well,
know
so
that.
he lives in Charlotte. It's like 3 hours away, and he goes to school here. So during the school year, sometimes he'll keep his bike at my parents' house. So
it hasn't been there for that long, has it?
It's been there a couple months at this point, and he's coming to get
Where is it
tomorrow.
Why haven't
in the
seen
shed?
It? Oh, in the shed.
In the shed up by the house. Yeah. So he's actually coming to get it tomorrow, and he's taking it home. But
okay.
He just is like, "Hey, yeah, I'm going for a ride this weekend. Are you in?" And I'm like, "Yes." And I just had barely gotten the bike back together, but I was like, "Yeah. Absolutely. I want to go for an off-road ride so bad." So we get out. We get up, we get everything ready, we load both the bikes up into his truck, and right out there is about an hour away, Sanford, North Carolina, a place it used to be called Devil's Ridge. They were about to get shut down and bought and developed into residential, and then someone else bought them, renamed it The Ridge. It's a track and a off-road little loop, and I'm like, absolutely, I want to go. I want to kind of figure out this bike.
Mm-hmm.
And I just rebuilt the engine, so I'm all kind of still nervous. Stuff's gonna go wrong with it, but I'm having it's like fun because I wanted to get it in the woods and see what it's capable of. And we just kind of ride for a while. It's fun. Like I did 3 laps through that it's like a 4-mile loop, so it's kind of like a casual riding day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not riding the whole time. I'm taking some decent breaks and drinking waters. It's really hot. So I'm drinking a lot of water and eating some like Cliff Bars and stuff. And then it's like doing pretty well. It's heavy. So, and I've got, the biggest issue is I have the 50/50 street dirt tires on it.
Mm-hmm.
So they do all right on the street and all right in the dirt. They don't do great anywhere. And so in the dirt, every once in a while you lose a little bit of, you get a little funny, like you're sliding around. And on the third lap, my last lap, I was like really cruising. I was cruising
Getting
pretty
comfy.
fast. Yeah. I'm standing up on the pegs. I'm really getting comfortable. And I'm going fast for what that bike is and for how new I am to that bike.
Mm-hmm.
But I just felt so good. I was really like excited that all the work I had done to the bike was working, and I was excited that I was cruising around in the woods again on basically a dirt bike, and that I was excited about what that bike was, and that I was kind of in a way right about thinking it was that.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a dirt bike that you can ride on the street, and it is. It totally is. It's heavy. It's way heavier than the dirt bike that I sold to be able to buy it, and way worse at the trails, by the way. My dirt bike that I sold was way better. I was way faster and way more confident through the trails on my last dirt bike, but I was still having a lot of fun. Like, it's not like I'm having, my old dirt bike was maybe like 200% better, but it's not like I'm having, like 25% of the fun.
Yeah.
I'm having almost the same amount of fun on this thing. It's just, I'm not going as fast.
It's just different.
Yeah. And eventually, I'm just cruising, and all of a sudden, it's kind of hard to remember because I went down hard. But I wasn't going that fast. I was probably going like 10, 15 miles an hour. And I'm driving like on the edge of a muddy ridge. It's just like a little rut, like where a bunch of people have worn over time a rut. And I'm driving on the edge of it, which I've ridden dirt bikes my whole life, and I always have dirt bike off-road tires on the bike, which have these little knobs on the side of the tire that are able to just keep you on an edge. Like, they're just totally good at it.
Oh, yeah.
And these 50/50 dual sport tires, not as good at it. So my front tire does it all right, not even thinking about it. And then in this instant of just unfortunate events, my rear tire just slips down all the way into the rut. Mm-hmm. But my front tire is still tracking straight, which means I've turned like 30 degrees. And it's kind of a narrow trail at this part. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember exactly how the dismount from the bike happened. But there was like these two small trees growing up right next to each other. And I'm pretty sure, just from like deductive reasoning after the fact, that I was aiming my head between the two of them so that my head wouldn't hit the tree.
Yeah.
And I had a helmet on, of course, but my arm hit one of the trees, and I think my knee hit the other tree. And by the way, I have my motocross boots on.
Like a frisbee.
Yeah. I have my motocross boots on, and I always wear knee pads. And I had just forgotten them on this trip because I haven't gone riding for so long that I didn't even think about packing them. So my knee's all busted up right now, and my arm is fine. It just hurts a little bit, like if I touch it. But I was so pissed because I always wear those stupid knee pads, and they've never come in handy ever. And I'm like, why do I even wear these things? But I always do. And then the one day I forget them, I bash my knee. And so I'm like, my bike's on the ground, like spinning around. I just broke a turn signal off, but that's it, which is fine because they were already super old. And so I start to go pick up the bike, but my arm is like kind of numb because I really smacked that tree pretty hard. And like I don't bruise very much.
Yeah.
So that's just like, I don't even know what it's like. Looks like red splotchy. I don't even know. But
That'll bruise up nicely.
I hit I just go to just like pick the bike up because that's what I'm thinking, and then I'm like a little bit nervous because my arm's a little numb, so I'm like feeling it. It feels fine. I feel my collarbone feels fine, so I just pick the bike up, pull it off to the side of the trail, and then some dude, I'm like hearing some dude in the woods. I'm like, he'll pass me in probably like the next 10 minutes or so, and he does, and he freaking roosts me with mud. Like, I thought he would stop and say, like, are you good? Because every time I see somebody stopped, like, my bike wasn't over anymore. It was up on the side stand, and I was kind of on my phone because I was taking pictures of the tree and stuff, and so I could tell people about it. And but he doesn't even stop, and then he just guns it. And I'm like, dude, I have to, like, turn away so I don't get blasted with rocks. I was like, what's going on? But
that's Devil's Ridge. But
overall, actually, it was a lot of fun. And I got to hang out with Connor, who I don't see him very often at all, and then every once in a while we'll go on like a whole trip together. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Like I never see him, and then we'll go on like a weekend crazy trip to like some place, and then just won't see him again for forever. Yeah. Just kind of fun.
That's cool. Yeah. That's very.
But yeah,
cool.
that was my.
Did you bend your handlebars at all?
No, the bike didn't hit the ground hard. The bike was fine. If I hadn't hit the tree, it wouldn't have even been a story. It would have just been, oh, I fell off and I got back on. It would have, like, I've done plenty of spills at that speed where you don't even think about it. You just get back on the bike.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not
just that you flew into a tree.
If there was no tree there, I wouldn't have even really called it a crash. I would have called it like a tip over or whatever. But when I hit that tree that hard with my arm, and it hurt like that. It didn't even hurt. It just like it shook me up a little bit, and I had to stop for a while. I had to take my helmet off and just like sit there for a little bit and just like.
I believe you freaking spilled out.
I can't either.
Tree.
I've never done a fall like that on a dirt bike, and I blame it 50-50 on the tires and on me. Like I should have probably been taking it a little bit easier, but I was also like, I have to just learn these tires are different.
Yeah,
it's weird because I'm so trained to know exactly where a dirt bike tire will grip and where it won't, because I've just ridden so many trails. And when all of a sudden you're on a bike that doesn't have dirt bike tires on it, it's really weird.
Yeah
I'm super tempted to get another set of wheels for that thing and put dirt bike tires on it and be able to easily, like, in 30 minutes swap out into dirt bike tires and go off-roading in it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm interested to see what I got a set of new tires on mine. I'm interested to see what they feel like.
Yeah, and your tires are 50/50s too, but they look really street oriented.
Yeah. Which the whole thing, the KLR is definitely more street oriented
than my bike.
Your bike is definitely more of a dirt bike. Yours leans towards the dirt. Mine leans towards the road.
Yeah. Mine leans all the way over, and then I fly into a tree.
That's so crazy. At the Devil's Tramping Grounds. Oh, that's where that should be our first trip.
Yeah.
We take the tent and everything. Devil's Tramping Grounds. I think it's in Sanford too.
Really?
Yeah.
I also want to go up to the mountains, and there's like all those dirt roads up there.
Oh, okay.
So we can drive up to the mountains. I mean, it'll be quite a trip, because if we want to take back roads up there, then we're really gonna have to. It's gonna be a long trip just up there, and then we can spend a day maybe just like finding all these dirt roads and stuff.
Yeah.
And then another day back.
That'd be cool.
3-day trip.
Dang. But yeah, we there's a lot of bikes. A lot of bikes going on.
And I got the Shadow, which I've been talking about forever, the one I got for $200. I finally got it legal. It's finally legal.
Yes.
Finally registered. That took like 3 or 4 months. Nothing, no big deal.
Not that big a deal.
And your dad is funny because he wants to buy it so bad, but your mom doesn't want him to buy it.
So, yeah, I don't understand what's going on.
We'll see what happens, but I can sell it pretty easily for. I was gonna offer it to him for like $1,400, which like I think is a decent deal on that bike.
Yeah.
Because I think I could get like 2,000 on the marketplace.
Yeah, yeah.
And that gives me a profit of like around like $400 or $500.
Yeah, it's pretty.
So it's
good.
just enough to like pay for basically the truck parts I just ordered.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my god, the bikes. We need to get rid of some bikes.
I need to get rid of that one. That one I want to, as soon as I get those tires, which I did. I got new tires on it, and I have to go pick them up tomorrow. I can either he can buy it or I'm posting it for sale on the marketplace, and I'm trying to get rid of it. I want it gone.
Dude, it seems like a common theme that when you go to check out a motorcycle, you just ride it back.
Yeah.
And that's what happened yesterday. Once again, we went out to Kinston to check out. It was funny because my buddy Micah, he took the MSF course and wanted to buy a cruiser, and he thought like he would need a bunch of time to save, but he had the amount of money for a beginner cruiser, and I was trying to tell him that. And then he was sending me some ads. He's like, "Hey, would this one be good?" And the first one he sent me was like, the first ad was like a dude just ripping it down a road, like just mogging the bike. And it was this little shadow, and his buddy was recording him from this like freaking retarded truck.
Yeah.
And that was the first like picture.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other pictures were like, the like TikTok. He was like on it, like.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, don't even message that guy. And he sent me a couple others that were like just total trash cans. So I was like, you know what? I'll go look for them. And I went on. I looked for 10 minutes. I found one that looked to be a decent deal.
Yeah.
Sent him the ad, and he's like, "Oh, I like it." And then he messaged the guy, and then we went and saw it. And the guy was pretty cool, and needs to work on his negotiating skills.
Yeah.
His first words when I told him, I was like, I think it would be a really good deal at like $2,800. It was a 2009 Honda Shadow with a Shadow 750 Spirit, which is like a kind of a cool model of it, and it had 10,000 miles on it, or 11,000.
Yeah.
So it was a good deal. I said 28 would be a good deal. He had it for 32, and everything looked pretty clean except for the little fork seals were dried. But he walked up to the dude, and he's like real like fidgety, and he's like, "Do you have any wiggle room on it?" And I was like, like Chandler was there. We both looked at each other. We were like, "Oh no!"
I could see like you in the background just put your palm.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, dude, I
palm.
turned around because like everyone listening out there, if someone asks you if you have wiggle room, you say no, I don't.
Yeah,
that's like negotiating 101. Sorry, I don't have any wiggle room. You're not going to throw out a number?
Well, it
gives
gives you the easiest, as the seller, it's the easiest thing just to say no.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to actually it's not a hard thing to say.
You're not like there's no counter offer you have to do.
Yeah.
It's just like, nah, not really.
You want to make the seller uncomfortable. You want to make the other person uncomfortable. Not in a like rude way,
a bad way, but like,
you want to make them in a place where they're like, like when we were getting the KLR, you were like, "Hey man, like there are some things wrong with it," and the guy's like, "Yeah, I understand that," and you're like, "I'd like to do 2 on the dot." I liked kind of how you were saying it. It wasn't combative, but it was just made an offer.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what you do is you don't say, "Do you have wiggle room?"
Yeah,
it's like
you said, "I've got cash."
And he didn't say that.
Yeah,
I said that. I was like, when he made, so he said, "Do you have wiggle room?" And the guy obviously is like, "No, not much." And then he said, I said 28. I said, start at 28 at least.
Yeah. Or
get it for 28.
Yeah.
And then the guy's like, after a little bit, he's like, I could probably like knock $200 off. Which you got freaking lucky with a nice guy.
Yeah.
Like a normal dude would be not that nice.
No, you'd be like, what do you mean wiggle room?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I don't have wiggle room.
And then he's like, when he's like, I could probably do 3. He's like, Mike hadn't even spit out a number yet. he's like, would you do 29? I was like, I was like, that for the first offer you give, that is too close to his number.
It's too high.
It's like he says he comes down $200 for no reason, and you go down $100.
Yeah.
I would have been like, if someone goes down $200 for no reason, I'm like, oh, okay, 25.
Yeah.
It's like you could bring him down a lot.
Yeah. Like this guy's just coming down for, and you said, do you have wiggle room? And the guy just comes down, out of the kindness of his heart.
Yeah.
Then you say, all right, I'm doubling down. Let's do $3.
And it's all based on the bike too. It's like the bike had been sitting there. It had dust all over it. He wasn't thinking about it. It had been on the marketplace for 4 weeks.
Yep.
It like all these things are a factor, and he wasn't thinking about it all. We were driving there, and I was like, "So what type of questions have you asked the guy?" And he's like, what day would be good for you for me to come get? I was like, holy frick, we're in for one. And luckily it sounded good. It had aftermarket like Cobra pipes on it. It's got this big cool. I mean, I think it's a cool fairing.
You can't go wrong with a Shadow.
That's what I said. I kept saying like, dude, it's a Honda. She goes, "Is it gonna be reliable?" I'm like, "It's a Honda.
It's
just
gonna be
put some
stupid reliable,
fresh fluid in it. It'll be fine." And then the guy was like, at 29, the guy was like just silent. He was just, you could tell he was thinking. And then I was like, "It's cash, man."
Yeah, you chimed in.
Yeah. And then
that works. That line works. People think about that cash in their hand.
The cash, and you show it. I mean, when you say cash, you can flash it at them.
You hold it right at your crotch, and you like, kind of like gyrate.
Yeah, you kind of hump it towards them.
Yeah. And they're like, "I want the cash. I want it. I want the cash."
So at 29, I was like, "It's cash, man." He's like, "All right, I can do 29." And then Micah starts freaking out about like the getting insurance on it, like right then. I was like, "You don't need to get insurance on it." I told him, I was like, "If you really want to get insurance on it, you can call up your agent." But it was a Sunday afternoon. It was like, whatever. And we were parked in his driveway, and he's like, "I hope it's okay if I'm here for 5 minutes. I got to get insurance on it real fast."
That's funny.
Yeah. I know. And Chandler and I like, "Dude, no, you don't. We're riding it back with no plate. It's like, it's fine. You have the title signed over. You know, you're allowed to do that in North Carolina, at least, is ride a used bike home from a purchase." But he didn't get a bill of sale, which was kind of weird. But anyway, the plan was for like him to ride it back. It's like his bike.
Yeah.
And then, we're an hour and a half from home, and I was like, "Micah, have you ever like ridden on the street?" He's like, "No, not yet. This would be my first time." I was like, "What the frick, man?" I was like, "All right, I'll ride it."
Yeah, good.
And so I get on it. Dude, it felt, when I started riding down the road, I'm like, "Oh God." I was like, this bike is whacked out. I was like, something's wrong with the rear end. Something's wrong with the front end. The forks are super squishy.
Yeah.
But as soon as I was getting over 40, the rear end felt like it was like sliding out. I was like, what the frick is going on? And I looked down, and like the tires like on the ground almost. I'm like, it didn't look, I was like checking it. I was just like finger checking it, and it was, it was pumped up. But as soon as I sat on it, I guess I'm a hoss, flattened that sucker, and then drove 20 miles at like 65 miles an hour, sketchy as frick, into a sheets. Pumped up those tires. They're both at 15 psi, which is so low.
That's really low.
So low. It was crazy. And then got those bad boys pumped up, and it's like a new bike with those pumped up. And then I didn't want to take 70 home, which 70 took us all the way home. And I was like, I don't freaking feel like riding 70. I'm the one riding the bike. I want to take some. So I pulled up my Scenic app, and I typed in like the fast curvy.
Yeah.
And it said like 52. We had like 52 miles. It was like an hour and 40 minutes. I was like, there's no way 52 miles is going to take me an hour and 40 minutes. And
then it did.
And then it did because 70 route was like 54 or it was like 56 miles or something on 70.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm like, 54.
And it was only, how long did you think you had left? Like
like it was probably an hour and a half.
Yeah, and you ended up riding for like.
Oh, dude, I rode for 3 hours. I had to take like 2 pretty long breaks because 4 hours of sleep the night before. I was like gassed, and everyone on the road was trying to kill me. So I was like 4 hours of sleep, trying to be as aware as I could. There's freaking this like tractor that just sprayed my lane with like grass like I've never seen before.
Yeah. That stuff is apparently the most slippery stuff.
Slippery, and I'm like, at the last moment, there's like a half mile of grass. I'm talking like the most grass I've ever seen on the road. Like he's storing his grass on the road, and I like dip into the other lane and just freaking gun it like I'm passing someone so I can get out of this grass.
Yeah,
and just stuff like that, and people just pulling out in front of me and like doing weird stuff. It was like God was testing me to get that bike back.
Yeah, that's your second week in a row of riding a bike back that you shouldn't be.
I know, and it's so bizarre. Oh, but it's a cool bike though. And
I mean, I love the look of it. I want to see it. I'll probably ride over there at some point.
I'm worried about him.
I'm worried about him too.
I'm worried about him because
does he listen to the pod?
I don't think so. So I'm okay with saying that he did stall the bike a good few times.
I don't care about that. I just care about like if you panic and you don't know what to do at your core, you're so screwed.
That's the thing was with all of those situations that I got into, like my brain automatically downshifts. I'm always covering my levers.
Well, because your thought process is, I have to slow down, or I might have to slow down, or I have to turn.
Exactly.
It's not how do I slow down, or what if I have to slow down.
Yeah, exactly.
Or how do I turn? It's very different. It's so different. You just think slow down, and your brain automatically downshifts, grabs the brake, covers the brake, turns. Like it knows what to do.
And I was telling Ray while she was driving that truck, I was like, you got to develop your third eye.
Yeah.
Because there's a third eye while you're driving where you see stuff in the future. You can see it happening before it happens. Mm-hmm. And on a bike, that is so important. You see a person about to pull out in front of you.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you cover your levers. Yep. You let off the throttle.
You have a plan for what to do when they pull out in front of you.
You have an exact plan. Your third eye is watching.
It's freaking teaming.
And it happens a lot where your third eye saves you.
Yeah, they'll do it. They'll pull out, and then your plan is immediately enacted because you've already made the plan.
Yeah,
and you have to have that plan for every situation. And honestly, that third eye thing for me at least, has gotten way stronger in the car since I started riding the bike.
100%.
I'm a much safer and better driver and more aware driver since I've started riding the bike.
100%. But I get so worried about these new riders, even like Chandler, where in a car, say you have the right of way. In a bike, you'd never have the right of way. There's no, like, even if you're going straight and someone's pulling out onto your road from a side street, in your mind, you don't have the right of way. That's that car's right of way.
The thing I hate the most is so if you're listening to this and you drive a car and you don't drive a bike and you see a bike, treat them like a car. Do not give them, like if you're at a 4-way stop and you get there first to the stop, you go.
Yeah.
They don't go.
Yeah.
You go.
Yeah.
It's the same as if they're a car, because when you start waving them on, other people start to go, and you put them into a more unpredictable situation.
So it compromises them.
They'll do that to me all the time. Like, one guy gets to a stop sign in front of me, I'm behind him, and he waves me in front of him.
They think they're being like courteous to bikers.
Yeah.
And it's a danger for us.
You're putting us into a dangerous situation because nobody expects us to pop out in those situations. So all of a sudden we're even more invisible than we ever were before.
And normal car drivers get nervous around bikes.
They do.
I notice, like, they drive strange around you.
They do. They have to just treat you like you are a car. And riders can't ride that different from how they would drive a car. You can't be like weaving too much. Like weave as you would if you were a car weaving. Like don't get so close to the car that they get scared and don't know what's going on, and now they're, high adrenaline.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you drive like you're driving a car. If you want to go that fast, there's plenty of public tracks. There's plenty of off-road places you can go. There's plenty of buy a dirt bike and go to an ATV park if you want to ride like that. Because there's plenty of places. You can go to the racetrack and ride your bike there. There's so many places to do it. The street around cars is not, and it makes it harder for people like me who, I mean, like I like to ride fast when there's nobody around, but when there's cars around, I like to be predictable so that they respect the lives of the motorcyclists. I don't want them to think that
is, cars are unpredictable.
Yeah.
They're so unpredictable, and that's why you got to develop. It worries me about him.
Yeah.
That it's going to since he's never been on the street before. I mean, like when we started riding motorcycles, we had been on the motorcycle. We knew the controls.
Yeah.
We knew how to use them. It was just a little adrenaline at first, like getting on the road with
seeing the cars and stuff. But if we needed to stop,
we could stop.
We could just stop.
Yeah. And if, you need to downshift really fast, you need to upshift or whatever, you need to start, stop, you have it in your mind. But beginners that are getting on the street first is very scary because they're going to be, because they're going to be like looking at their foot when they need to shift or like looking for it's just like what lever does what almost.
It's crazy for me to imagine learning how to ride a motorcycle on public roads.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's like, you may know how to use the public road system in a car, but it's a different world on the bike.
So different. Even like I mess up still because it's so different. Like I'll change lanes by accident because it doesn't feel like you're in the lane the same way as the car. I've told that story on the podcast before where I'm in a straight lane and I just turn, and luckily I'm in a small bike and I realize what's happening halfway through the turn and just like find a section. But it freaked me out. And that was me, almost a year into riding on the road. Like stuff happens. You have to be kind of, I think it humbles you constantly. You think you're so good at it, and then something will happen and you'll be like, I don't know. I'm only a year in.
Yeah.
Right now I'm like a year into riding on the road. I'm a lot of years into riding motorcycles, but I'm only like a year in riding on the road, and I'm being humbled.
Yeah.
And you have to let it humble you because otherwise you're going to die.
I was going to say, hopefully you don't get humbled too bad.
Yeah. You have to take the small things and just be like, all right. And it feels good, like crashing that my new bike in the woods makes it so that like today I was on the street on it.
Yeah.
And I know it's possible for me to crash it.
Yeah.
Like it's a real thing. I know what it feels like to come off of it. And I came off into dirt. I mean, the tree hurt, but the dirt doesn't. Like dirt doesn't hurt like street would.
Mm-hmm.
And so my other bike, my Magna, never crashed it. And so it almost feels like it's not crashable just because I've never done it. I've never experienced it. On the XR now, all of a sudden, everything's changed because I feel like it could go down.
Yeah.
Because it's happened. I kind of like that a little bit about it. I know what it feels like to crash that bike. I've done it already. And I have a bruise on my arm. That's it. Luckily, I didn't crash on the street, but I could see it. Like I grabbed too much front brake. Whole bike goes out from under me. I'm grinding my skin off on the street.
Yeah, funny thing about KLR, you can't grab too much front brake.
Why?
Because the disc is so small.
Oh, yeah, it's not like
That's the number one problem that people have with that bike is the braking power in the front is non-existent.
All right, let me pee and we'll talk about that.
crash the bikes we will.
It's been a very bike-heavy episode again.
Been a very bike-heavy episode.
There's so many. All right, there's no good. There's one decent motorcycle podcast.
Really?
Yeah. It's Revzilla has a podcast.
Oh.
It's High Side, Low Side, it's called, yeah. And it's good. There's like the two guys are. It's good. They're a little bit. I'm going to say like dweeby.
Nerdy?
A little bit.
They're a little bit nerdy.
A little nerdy, which is fine.
We don't need nerds here,
They know, they know a lot, and they're cool. I've listened to that podcast a decent bit. And I'm not saying we're like a motorcycle podcast, but.
No, we're kind of a jack of all podcast.
Yeah.
we round it out.
I think this is 37. I'm excited
37, 38?
It could be 38.
I think it's 38.
It could be 38.
30.
I was excited. I was thinking about getting to like 100. It was going to be really cool.
Yeah, 100. What do we do for 100? Hopefully we have a little sponsor by then.
By then, yeah. But it's kind of fun. We're in the no man's land right now.
We're in such no man's land. It's crazy.
I love the no man's land where we've consistently have at least 200 views on YouTube of every podcast. So there's people clicking it. And I think a lot of that still is YouTube just being like, oh, we've got this channel that's uploading videos consistently. Let's show it to 200 people a week. And then every once in a while, someone's like, oh, I like this.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. But we need to get interaction up. We need to get comments up.
Yeah, why no one leaving the comments?
Well, it's like it's not us asking for people to interact in that way. It's like in order for this to be successful, like we need interaction. We need like viewership.
I'd like to answer some comment questions.
I would love to answer comment questions.
Oh, but we gotta run the comment questions at the beginning of the pod.
Yeah,
because some people don't make it this far.
Yeah, but at the same time, the people who make it this far are the people who I wanna hear the questions from.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear
questions.
I don't want to hear the questions from the people who just listen to the first 15 minutes. You know.
Yeah, DM us on Instagram, or leave a YouTube comment.
Yeah,
but a lot of people are on the Spotify.
Spotify. Yeah. Well, we're on Spotify. We're on a bunch of platforms. I haven't even looked in a long time at how much our actual viewership on those platforms are, but it's usually lower. It's usually lower than on YouTube.
Yeah. Wow, man, it's been a journey. 8 weeks.
38, yeah.
Coming up to a year. More than halfway. It's freaking flying by. And next week, we got to do the pod next week. I can do it on Monday. I'm going to Chicago for a doubleheader Cubs game. That's going to be fun. I'll probably have some. We'll do it on Monday, so I have some stories. I'll probably have some funny stories. I'm going to go lick the frick out of that bean. Let me tell you what.
You gotta.
I'm going to record it, too. Swear to God. Put on my OnlyFans.
Yeah, we've got.
I wonder if I can make anything on OnlyFans. My OnlyFans would be like me greased up working on stuff.
Oh, yeah, just sliding around on stuff.
Yeah.
Slipping and sliding on your grease.
Yeah. Because I feel like women really like that when a guy's like really greasy.
Yo.
And like they walk down, they're like, he's working on stuff, and you're just like, oh. That's why I work on stuff, and then I go to the gym. Yeah. I'm all like,
you're like greasy and pumped.
Yeah. The grease pump is crazy.
I get pretty pumped wrenching on cars. The bikes, not so much. When I doing like a big job on a car, the next day I'm like, I feel like not sore in my muscles, but like the weird support muscles that you never do at the gym.
Yeah.
You get those working on a car. That's like dad strength muscle. Oh, wait, put them in.
All right. Hold on one second.
Mike is calling, who just bought the new bike.
No way. He is away.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Hey, I just got back from the first ride.
Oh yeah, how'd it go?
It was so fun. I went around my neighborhood like 2-3 times, and then I just went out on the road. I rode like 25, 30 miles.
What you rode 30 miles out on the road?
Yep.
Oh my God, are you okay?
Yeah, I feel great. Okay. Yeah, I'm fine. I hopped on the highway for like 3 or 4 of them because I wanted to see what the highway felt like.
Yeah. And you
Yeah,
you didn't change your oil?
No.
Oh my God, you little rat!
I'll change it to my. That's why I said I got to order it off Amazon.
Yeah. Do that. Get that done before you ride it again, because you don't know what that oil's like.
That's fair.
I can't believe you went out and rode 30 miles.
Oh, dude, it was great.
Were you like okay with all the controls and everything?
Yeah, I got the clutch like catches like right at the end of the like almost as I'm about to release the lever is like right when it catches, which is so different from the one I rode in the MSF course because it was like pretty early. So I got to get used to that.
Yeah.
But everything
you can adjust it.
Yeah, I didn't stall on the road. Honestly, the most trouble I had was getting the gas cap back on when I freaking got gas.
Oh yeah, you just click it on.
Yep, I know. I literally was like, why isn't it like twisting? What's going on? And then I pushed on it, and it wasn't really doing anything. And then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna push on it again, I guess. And it finally like popped in.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Hey, you noticed? Did you keep that fairing on there?
Fairing? No, I took it off.
You did?
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. Highway without that thing, there's no way.
Yeah, it's so brutal, windy. Right?
So windy.
Yeah, that thing's a lifesaver.
Yeah. No. So I mean, if I ever have to do anything highway, I'll throw it on there. But for the back roads, I didn't need it at all. It felt fine. Yeah. If I was going like 55 on a back road, I definitely started like, oh, I can feel the wind, but it wasn't like crazy.
Yeah. After a while, it gets brutal. Yeah,
I'm sure. I think if I went any kind of crazy distance, I would get pretty out of it.
Well, cool. I'm glad you're still alive.
Yes.
Just keep practicing.
Mm-hmm.
Keep practicing.
Yeah, I just got to get hours in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna order that. I ordered that oil earlier, so once it gets in, I'll.
Okay. Did you get Did you get a filter?
No, I gotta still order one.
Okay. All right. Make sure you get the filter.
Real, very, very true.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, it's gonna okay, I just gotta hope my dad doesn't look at Amazon and be like, what the, why are you buying motorcycle oil?
Oh, is he not for the motorcycle?
No, one of the big reasons I got it was because I know my dad's gonna love it, and I wanted to surprise him with the fact that I bought a motorcycle.
Oh,
so
you could say you're drinking the oil. It's a new health phenomenon.
Yeah, I'll just tell him I bought the wrong oil, probably. Yeah, I'm retarded. My
bad. Oh, good. All right, man.
Yeah. I just wanted to update you. But I'm trying to get into shape so I can ride next time the boys are riding.
Yeah. Get that thing into shape. Get yourself into shape.
Yep, definitely. I'm gonna I ordered the oil, so hopefully I should be here by Wednesday. So I guess we'll see. But just want to update you. I will let you go because I know you go to bed relatively soon.
Yeah. I'm getting ready. Now. Oh
cool.
My gosh. All right, man. We'll catch you later.
I'll hit you up once I get this oil done.
All right. Sounds good.
See ya.
Bye. Yeah, cut that out.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut most of that out. Do you think we can leave any of that in?
Yeah, for sure.
Is he gonna care?
I don't think so. You gotta cut the stuff out about Chandler.
I will, yeah.
Chandler's gonna be like, what? What'd he say?
Yeah. I'm not cutting out us saying that we're cutting out the Chandler stuff.
Yeah, don't cut that out.
It's not Chandler. I promise it's not bad. It's
Chandler,
just funny.
It's not bad.
It's just funny to say.
It's just we know you're not gay, dude.
We know it's not true.
We know it's not true. Oh my god, that's so funny. I can't believe you did that.
North Carolina is a one-party consent, so legally he has no. Since we recorded him, even if he doesn't know, since we consent.
Yes.
He doesn't legally have to consent to us posting it on the podcast.
Get on, Micah. This is a 2-party consent, actually.
Yeah, it's better even.
It's better.
It's 2 against
we're
1.
Double consent.
But
that's so funny that you can do that.
I have a like moral dilemma in my head though. I feel like you should text him and be like, "Yo, can we air that?" What would he say though? Maybe will he say no? Because if he's gonna say no, then don't ask him.
Well, if he says no, I'm gonna say it's a 1-party consent state. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, so you can't. No, I think no, that's fine. I told the story of us getting the bike, and
True, and I'll cut out anything that he says that's not like just information.
Yeah, because he thought that was like a regular phone call.
I know.
Oh, I totally forgot we could call people.
Me too.
Oh my god.
I muted myself so that he wouldn't be like,
yeah,
who's that?
Yeah. I wonder how good we sound through the other side.
He's probably like, dude, Gus's phone is so
nice.
nice.
His mic is incredible.
Dude, I just got back from my first ride and I didn't crash. And my oil is from 2001.
Oh my god, that's so good. Oh, I'm so glad he didn't crash.
Me too. It's exciting to hear that he did that many.
He did
miles.
a lot. He did 30 miles.
Oh, it's so crazy to think about him getting on the highway.
30 miles is a lot of miles.
Can you imagine? But can you imagine your first, or can you remember your first 30 miles on your bike?
I don't think so.
Imagine your first 30 miles on a motorcycle. I did for sure my first 30 miles on a 50cc motorcycle.
Oh, you're talking about like way not.
Well, I'm saying both.
Oh, both.
So like your first on the street bike, first 30 miles on a street bike are like you're still just kind of like getting used to it.
Yeah.
And your first, our first 30 miles on like a motorcycle in general was on like tiny bikes when we were babies.
Yeah, mine was on. Yeah, I was way back.
Mine was on a 50cc, 4-stroke.
I was on a 52. I used to go over to one of my friend's house when I was like 8 and ride his PW50, the little 2-stroke.
It was a 2-stroke?
Yeah, thing was sweet. And then I upgraded to a PW80.
Yeah.
That thing was awesome. And then I got the 90. No, I had the Motovox first. It was like this mini bike. We lived in this huge neighborhood. And I got this mini bike, freaking fat tires, no suspension. Just freaking cruise around off-road, on-road. Thing off-road was just chung, 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 chung. That thing lasted forever. Yeah. And then I got the TTR 90. That was my first bike. Got it. It was mint TTR 90. $300.
Damn.
And we got it home, and I wanted to ride it so bad. And it started raining, and my dad's like, just wait for tomorrow. And I was like, I can't wait for tomorrow. And the sun was setting, it was getting dark, and we had this really long backyard. It was skinny and long. And I went up, and I was like freaking cruising. And then the throttle got stuck going back towards the house. And I was like, it got stuck in second gear. So, you're going like 20 or 15. And there was like our patio and then the garage. Like the back of the garage with the siding on it, just freaking right into the garage. I didn't go through the wall or anything, but I freaking bounced off the wall. Like that was crazy. But I bent a bunch of crap up. Bent that mint TTR 90.
Yep.
It was a sad day.
Man, I tried to get that bike running, and it is being weird.
Yeah, it's been through it.
Because that bike's still around, and it is acting so weird. I can't even explain it.
It probably has 500 or 600 hours on
That's
it.
too many.
And it, after that day, that's when the Kickstarter started doing that weird thing.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like missing the groove or missing the teeth or whatever it's doing.
Yeah, it's slipping on the teeth.
It's slipping on the teeth. But I've always been able to start it. Like, it's done that forever.
Yeah.
And I always was able to start it. But, yeah, that was my first bike, and I just smashed it on the first day.
Yeah, that's funny.
But that bike has been a tank. It's a cool little bike.
It is a cool little bike.
What a tank.
Oh, man, yeah. My first bike I really bought was actually my 230. I was like 13 or 14.
Yeah.
And that was when I was like, I haven't really stopped riding since then. I've had hiatuses, but
Hiatuses.
yeah. And I started when my first bike that I rode was a Razor electric dirt bike.
Ooh,
when
yeah.
I was I was probably like 4 or 5.
I had one of those.
And then when I was 7, I got the 50. I rode the crap out of that until I outgrew it, and then I had my little break. And then I was like, man, I want a dirt bike so bad. Like, I started fiending for a dirt bike just randomly. And then I had saved any money I'd ever made as a kid. I never spent. I just went in the bank account.
That's
so
cool.
I had enough money to buy a dirt bike. So I was like, Dad, I think I want to buy a dirt bike. And I was like, I want a 230. I had figured out I wanted a 230. And he was like, all right. I think he might have found that one.
Yeah,
or maybe I did.
yeah.
And we went to test drive it. And he took me out there. He rode it first. And then I rode it. And I was like, I just loved it.
Yeah.
I was like, this thing feels huge.
It's still a cool
It
bike.
felt gigantic.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want this. And I think I negotiated down to like $1,300 for it.
Man, bikes have gone up so much.
Yeah, they've gone way up. So I bought
much.
that thing for 13, and like I could probably if I rebuild it, which might cost me like $200-$300, I think I could probably sell it for like $2,000.
At least.
Yeah.
At least.
Maybe like 24.
Yeah.
It's insane how much it's changed. But that was my first ever negotiation, and I negotiated with the guy. He wanted some amount for it, and I was like a little kid basically at the time.
Yeah.
So as soon as he heard me say that, I feel like it like melted his heart because I was all like, I was probably super nervous and I was young. And I was like, would you take $1,300 for it? And he's like, yes. Yes, I can take $1,300. Dude, because if somebody came to me and wanted to buy it and they wanted and I knew that like that was me at one point and that might be their first bike they've ever bought.
Yeah.
And it's their first negotiation, I need to give that to them.
Yeah.
I would much rather give a little kid his first like win in a negotiation than make a couple $100 more bucks off of a little kid. Like
exactly.
if it's a little kid wanting to buy his first, but like it just, you need to give it to him. And he did. To be fair, he didn't counter offer me. He just said yes.
That's what happened with the 90 too.
Yeah.
I forgot how much it was posted. It was probably like $800.
Yeah.
And when I got there, I was like so small and so cute.
Yeah.
We take 300 for it. Yes.
Yes.
And this dude was like at a big freaking house, rich guy.
Yeah.
He had a ton of bikes.
Uh-huh.
Oh, he's like, sure. Oh my God. The bike market. It's so nuts.
I was telling Cameron, or not Cameron, Connor the other day that I want to keep flipping bikes until, no matter how long it takes me to flip a bike, I want to keep flipping them until when I show up to a negotiation, one, I know exactly how much the bike is going to need. Not exactly, but like pretty roughly, like how much I'm going to have to put into it. 2, to be able to know what's a good deal and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
And 3, to be comfortable negotiating.
Yeah.
And it's the easiest way, I think, to learn those 3 things is flipping bikes, because I'm already passionate about them and they're cheap, relatively.
Yeah, relatively. Yeah, that's a good metric.
I want to at least flip them until then, and I might try and flip a car soon through the auction, but I'm really tempted to do that. I feel like I can make a decent amount of cash doing that.
Yeah, I think so. I just, with those cars, it's like definitely a bigger risk if you don't know the car.
Yeah.
Like if I were to buy a Jeep Cherokee XJ right now, I'd feel comfortable buying it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I were buying a car to flip, say like find a good deal on Accord, I would feel like a little, you have to learn it.
But I know my best friend growing up had a 02 Accord, and my mom had a 2010 Accord, and I know what goes wrong with them. It's like that the CV joint can go bad. The starter can go bad.
I just mean like with any car.
It's
really.
but it's like those Japanese cars from that period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like mechanically, they're not going to have that many problems, and they're not going to be that expensive to fix. It's how much is it going to cost to fix whatever's wrong with them that brought them to auction in the first place?
Yeah.
And then you fix it, and then you sell it as is. I feel like that you could make a lot of money doing that. I mean, that's what dealerships do a lot of time. It'd be cool.
Yeah, they do auctions.
I was telling Adam, because Adam's ideally would like to own an auto body shop.
Yeah.
And I was saying it'd be cool to own an auto body shop and a dealership. And then instead of buying cars that are ready to go, you buy cars that aren't ready to go. And then you feed your dealership with your auto body shop, and the dealership pays the auto body shop, and then the dealership makes 30% more than a different dealership that just is buying cars that are ready to go.
Yeah.
And then you have your auto body shop is making money too, and it's also doing customer work. And then all of a sudden you have this like whole shoot from the auction out to people, and you own both businesses. So that's an idea.
It's a good model.
Yeah,
it's a good model.
It's an idea.
Got to cut that out so people don't steal it.
Yeah. I'll leave it in because nobody's gonna do it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
There's plenty of good ideas out there, and nobody does them.
Yeah.
That's the stupidest thing. Like people know what's a good idea, never do it, ever. Don't try it. They're like, they have this idea that's their great idea. They just sit on it their whole life and never do anything about it. Pussies.
Amen.
Pussies.
Amen.
If you are out there and you're willing to make that idea happen, do it, and I'll do it better.
You fire it up.
Yeah.
You're firing them up.
Yeah. Do it, and I'll do it better.
Boom.
Yeah.
God.
And on that note, that's all I have to say for today's pod. If you have anything else to say, you can go ahead and add it right now.
I'm good. Suckers.